Good evening. Thank you for joining us live on our Facebook event. I am Kelly Roberts. I'm the Director of Recruitment for our evening and online education. We are also here with Becky Ahrens.
Hello, my name is Becky Ahrens. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Drury, and we thank all of you for taking the time to visit with us this evening. I know we already have several questions, and we want to get right to those, but Kelly, if you want to start us off by talking a little bit about the process of admission and getting started with financial aid.
Sure. Well, I want to start first also thanking you all for joining us. We are actually here in Springfield. We have 7 different campuses represented, so hopefully many of you are tuning in. This is one time when we're really close together, but sometimes miles apart. Starting with admission, all of our applicants, of course, need to apply online. Our application is free. Once you've been admitted and hoping that you have a FAFSA on file, we're then able to award you a financial aid package. Time can be a big factor in that if you're selected for verification, and I do think we have some questions over that later on that we can get to and kind of establish what that means for you. But overall, once you get your financial aid package in, your advisor, your counselor, your recruiter will work with you kind of going through your package. Within all of that, you get assigned a Drury ID number, and everything that we talk to you about, you also have in your Drury portal. We refer to that as My Drury, and that's where you can view all of your financial aid awards that are either scholarships from Drury or things that you have received from the federal and state government.
Thank you, Kelly. I would also note that when you're admitted to Drury, you will get a Drury email address, and that's very important to remember because that is the only place that we can communicate your financial aid information. We cannot legally send out financial aid information to a Gmail or a Hotmail or any other email address, only Drury. So when you get your letter that tells you what your Drury email address and your password are, be sure you hold on to that and be sure you're checking your Drury email very often because that's where you'll receive those notices about financial aid. Once you receive your email telling you that your financial aid awards are available, just like Kelly said, you can log into your My Drury account, see all of the awards that you're eligible for, and accept or decline any aid. Okay. So we have a couple of questions already. The first question is, when do we find out what loans we need and qualify for? So we talked a little bit about the process of receiving your financial aid. What we also would encourage you to do in your My Drury account is to access a copy of your course and fee statement. So we try very hard to counsel students to not take out more loans than they really need because those are loans and you have to pay those back eventually. We don't want you taking out loans that you don't need and creating that burden of a loan repayment later on. So definitely be very mindful of the loans that you're taking out. Compare what you have available with your course and fee statement and make sure that you're not borrowing more than you absolutely need.
For some of those specific questions, I assume the students that have tuned in here are already accepted. If that's the case, you're likely working with an advisor or your recruiter. They can help you access all of that information, and if for whatever reason you lost your password or you need it reset, we can help you with that. And that way you can actually locate what your course fee statement is. That will make a difference according to how many credit hours you've signed up for.
All right, so the next question is about learning a little bit more about your financial aid. If you have questions about your specific financial aid awards, the very best thing you can do is reach out to somebody here at Drury, either your recruiter, and they can put you in touch with us in the financial aid office, or you're welcome to reach out directly to us. We can walk you through the awards that are available and help you with any advice on maybe applying for other aid that you may be eligible for. So definitely feel free to reach out if you have questions specific to your financial aid. We don't want to answer those here, because of privacy regulations, but certainly feel free to reach out to us and we'll be glad to walk you through any questions that you have about your specific financial aid awards.
If you are not one of our current admitted students and the FAFSA is kind of a new idea for you, that is the free application for student aid. It does have to be refiled every year. And a couple of years ago, they started doing the prior year. So rather than using your tax information from this year you just completed, you'll go 2 years back. So hopefully you will have all of that information handy and readily available.
Right. For those that haven't filed a FAFSA before, or even for those that have, the FAFSA is an indicator of a family's financial strength or a student's financial strength. If you are under the age of 24, you're not married, you don't have any dependent children, most likely you'll be filing as a dependent student and you'll be including your parents' tax information. If you are married, if you have dependent children that you're supporting, if you're over the age of 24, most likely you'll be an independent student and you'll be filing the FAFSA only with your tax information, and if you're married, with your spouse's tax information. Again, it's an indicator of a family's financial strength. The FAFSA also will return what's called an expected family contribution, or EFC. You'll hear that moniker pretty frequently in financial aid terms. That EFC tells us at Drury what you're eligible for. So it may tell us that you're eligible for Pell, subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, Access Missouri grant for those of you that are Missouri residents. But that tells us what we need to know to create that financial aid package for you. FAFSA creates the EFC and then sends it to us and to all the schools that you choose on your FAFSA.
Then scholarships can be added in addition to whatever is decided upon by the FAFSA. The scholarships, we have tiered structures. We have some that are associated with special accolades. So if you are a member of Phi Theta Kappa from your local community college, some of them are based on GPA. We have a full list of those on our website, so I would encourage you to check there first. They do need to be reapplied for, and we do prefer that students at least get the application done before the start of classes.
Absolutely. You always want to apply for scholarships as early as you possibly can. Our checkbook is very much like yours. Once that money is gone, it's gone. So you want your name as high on that list as you can get it by applying early. Okay. And like Kelly said, there are a great list of scholarships on our website. There are also a number of scholarships that are available throughout your local community. For those of you that may be in high school or have just graduated, your counseling office at your high school can be a great resource. Google is always your friend when you're looking for scholarships. Look for scholarships for students in maybe your major or your academic program, scholarships for students that have interest areas that you might have as well. So there are lots and lots of scholarships out there that you can apply for. One thing I would caution you, though, is if you come across some websites or if you receive any information from agencies that want to promise you aid, those often will charge a fee, and those are not going to be probably your best bet. I can give you the same advice. Kelly can give you the same advice for free. So we always want to caution students against paying for a scholarship search or a scholarship service. Most of the time what those folks are promising you is an unsubsidized loan, which I can also promise you if you file the FAFSA and haven't used all of your lifetime eligibility. So feel free to reach out and we can kind of send you in the right direction.
We also, kind of while we're on that, I'd like to segue into our military families. So we have a large proportion that are either active duty military or veterans receiving benefits. We will help walk you through all of that. Many of you also have a veterans counselor. We would always suggest you work with them as well. We do have a form, our veteran certification request form, that you would need to fill out on our website. We all work in collaboration together, your advisor, your recruiter, myself, Becky and her team. And so we use all of that to help you and communicate with you, but we do need that done first and foremost. And we'll help you walk through all the paperwork that might be associated with that as well.
Right, two very important things for VA students who are planning on using VA education benefits like Chapter 33. One, always be sure to send us a copy of your certificate of eligibility. That gives us some more information to help you understand your benefits better as we're counseling you through this process. And be sure you fill out that certificate, or the veteran certification request on the website. You need to fill out every semester. That's your way of letting us know that you want to use those benefits, and we should certify those benefits through the VA.
How do you apply for scholarships? That was one of our questions that were recently asked. All of that is on our website, so you can look at a list of all of the scholarships that you may or may not qualify for, and there will also be a form for you to complete on there and give to your advisor. You're welcome to send it to a recruiter as well. We welcome you to use any of our satellite campus locations. You don't have to turn it into Springfield or even drive to Springfield to do that.
We had a question asked, do I have to pay back the Pell Grant? The Pell Grant does not have to be repaid. Anything that's a grant is a gift of money, so that's what we absolutely want. Loans, though, do have to be repaid, so be sure when you're reviewing your financial aid awards and your MyJury account, understand each of the awards that you are being offered, and be sure that you're accepting all the grants and only the amount of loans that you really need, because like I said, those loans do have to be repaid.
Another question on scholarships. How can you increase your chance to be awarded a scholarship? And this is a really good question, just a very general question. Always file the FAFSA, and then of course make sure you pay attention to deadlines. If I know anything on this side of the chair over here, Becky likes deadlines. She should. And so really be mindful of that and plan ahead of time. Spend a lot of time on any essays that you need to write, and then don't hesitate to ask any of us to look over it for you as well. And just pay attention to the GPA requirements. A lot of our scholarships can be for returning students as well, so it's not just your incoming scholarship that we take into account.
We have a question, do I get a military discount? And we do have a special tuition rate for students who are using either TA benefits or MyCAA benefits. So those students are charged a reduced rate of $250 per credit hour.
We are also going to take care of the student fee for those students as well.
Correct.
There is still a tech fee associated. As you can imagine, that would go for any technology in our classrooms. All of our satellite campuses have resources you can use there on site as well. And so those are all a free service to you that is built into that technology fee.
Okay, so we have a question about documents that are required if you are interested in taking out your loans. For students who are interested in borrowing a loan to pay for their education, there are 2 required documents that you do have to complete before we can disperse that loan to your account. The federal government requires that you complete entrance counseling and that you complete your master promissory note, which you'll hear referred to as an MPN. Entrance counseling is a process that tells you more about your loans, about the repayment process, interest rates, deferment and forbearance, all of the details that go along with that loan and how you would repay it. The MPN, the master promissory note, is the legal document you're signing saying, yes, I promise to pay this loan back. So both of those documents are completed online at studentloans.gov. You'll log in with your FSA ID, the same one that you use to file your FAFSA. Once those are completed, they're usually sent to Drury in 24 to 48 hours, and then we update your account just like magic. So it's a very easy process. And what I will say is Becky's team does a really wonderful job for any of our currently accepted students, and if you're not accepted yet, hopefully soon. But when you go into your MyJury that I mentioned earlier, if you're just kind of tuning in now to our live stream, all of our accepted students have a student portal where they can access this information. And so Becky's team actually gives you a link to the FAFSA site. It's kind of just a handy tool that you can click on and takes you straight to the page you need. So if you're like me, sometimes you get onto the FAFSA site, there's a lot of information, but everything that's needed for you specifically is going to be in your MyJury portal. Right. There's also a link on our website. I'll kind of say as an aside to be very careful that when you're filing your FAFSA or you're filling out any loan documents or any documents for your financial aid, be very sure the site that you're landing on. We had a situation a few years ago where a student Googled FAFSA, they pulled up the first website that came up, put in all of their financial information, their birth date, their social security number, their address, the parents' social security numbers, parents' information, tax information, addresses, birth dates, everything that you would possibly need to steal someone's identity, put all that information in, got to the end, and the last page of the FAFSA that they were filing, which was not the real FAFSA after all, said, "Thank you, please give us your credit card number now. We'd like to charge you $85 for filing your FAFSA." Remember that this is the free application for federal student aid, emphasis on the word free. You don't have to pay to file the FAFSA. So you want to make sure that you are on a .gov website when you're filing the FAFSA. You do not want .com or .anything else, just .gov. Make sure you're on that FAFSA page. You can link to the correct websites from our website, from any other school's website as well. So just be sure you're in the right place when you're giving all that personal information out. And one more question about military that I want to circle back to really quickly. The MyCAA, your veterans counselor who you work with
creates a form for you to fill out, and we can help you create that as well. But for the most part, what they're looking for is kind of your course description and your course outline plan, which we can help you with.
Okay. Another question that we received, I'm expecting a child now, but I wasn't when I filed the FAFSA. Can I change it to be an independent student? The answer is no, you can't change it, but what you need to do is contact our office. So anytime there is kind of a special or unique situation that isn't reflected on your FAFSA as it's currently filed, call the financial aid office. Call us and let us walk you through. We may have to collect some additional documentation for you depending on what your specific situation is, but always give us a call and we can walk you through those unique and individual situations. Okay, so the next question is, when are funds available for purchasing what's needed for classes? Students who do have financial aid in place can request a bookstore voucher through the business office. There's a form on our website. You just fill out your basic information. As long as everything's set up, you're on a payment plan, or you have financial aid in place, then we can get you a bookstore voucher and you can charge your books here at Drury.
Yes, and your advisor or your recruiter can help walk you through that process. A lot of times that's after everything, has kind of been in place, and we do allow you to kind of use that bookstore voucher to get a jump start on your classes, make sure everything is in place. Our bookstore here is at Springfield, and so we also take care of getting the books either shipped to your address, or if we can take them up to one of our satellite campuses, we would do that for you as well.
Sure.
I don't think either one of us can probably emphasize enough just about communication and making sure your questions are answered. Sometimes we may ask you more questions back, but every student is unique, and so we want to make sure we answer for your circumstances specifically.
Kelly, why should I file the FAFSA when I know I won't qualify for aid?
Well, you could be wrong. But also the FAFSA, by filling that out, also gives us an idea kind of on scholarship basis. That's a really good baseline for Drury as a whole. And so we would always encourage you to file the FAFSA. If you've not done it in the past, it's really not that scary of an experience. We always have somebody that can help you. The FAFSA, their customer service line, is also very helpful. We've walked students through them on the phone as well before. But if nothing else, just do it to help increase your chances for scholarships at Drury.
Absolutely. The next question is, I've always heard Drury is expensive. Can I afford it? And that's a very important question. Affordability is very important and certainly something you want to consider. You also want to think about the value of what you're getting. So you do want to make that investment in the school that's going to be the right fit for you. It's a good idea to think about where your investment is going to be best placed, just like with any other financial investment that you make. We do work very hard to make sure that students have many options for paying for their college expenses. Sometimes that's a loan, sometimes it's a Pell Grant, varies definitely by student. But the first thing that you need to do, and we'll say this again, we'll say this 100 times tonight, be sure you file your FAFSA, because that is kind of the cornerstone of receiving any kind of aid. Like Kelly said, if it's the first time, go ahead and file it. You may be wrong. We're going to hope that you're wrong and maybe you qualify for lots and lots of aid. But if you're not, it hasn't cost you anything except a little bit of time, and it gives us some other information that we might need to kind of connect you with some scholarships or to make other recommendations for you. But we do work very hard to make sure that Drury is affordable for all of our students. And again, you got to think about that value that you're getting from the education.
Yes, value is also a word that we use often in our offices, but Drury was also just voted 13th in the nation for online schools for affordability. Fall is kind of the year when accolades and awards are given out. We do have a full list of those on our website as well, and you can learn more about the agencies that kind of award us. But 13th is awesome, and we're really proud to celebrate that.
Absolutely. So the next question is, how do I know if I've been selected for verification? Well, there'll be a couple of ways that you're notified. The very first way that you're going to be notified is on your student aid report. So when you get your information back from FAFSA, usually 3 to 5 days after it's filed, you'll get a confirmation email back saying, thank you, your FAFSA has been processed, and there'll be some other information contained in that email. So if you are selected for verification, there will be a paragraph in that email that says your FAFSA has been selected for verification, and it will tell you that your school is going to contact you and ask for more information. The next way that you'll find out is from us in the financial aid office, because again, we'll be sending emails to your Drury email address. So again, keep an eye on your Drury email, but we will send you emails reminding you or letting you know that you've been selected for verification. We'll direct you to your My Drury account so you know exactly what documents you need to submit. You'll get a series of email reminders if we don't receive everything right up front. So definitely we will notify you, but you got to keep an eye on your Drury email account.
Yes, so Becky's office, everything will go straight to your Drury email. At most of our campuses, we follow up with you over the phone too. And so if you're still working on it, do us a favor and just pick up the phone and let us know that you're still working on it. And that way maybe the following week we won't bother you. We try to stay on top of all of that and provide the best customer service that we can. As far as submitting your verification documents, you can come into any of our locations and bring the paperwork that was selected for that. You can also email it straight to Becky's office, but if you'd like any of us to review it for you, we'd be happy to do that too. Most everything we do can be done electronically, and then if it's some hard official document that they need and you are not in Springfield, you're welcome to give it to any of the advising staff or the site director where you are, and we can get it to main campus.
Right. And we'll give you guys kind of a sneak peek too, or some inside information. You can also upload a lot of your documents through your My Drury account. So when you fill out that verification worksheet, just save it and upload it right through your My Drury account. You don't even have to send it to us. It just automatically goes in. So that's a handy feature that a lot of students don't take advantage of. It's kind of new. So feel free to use that to kind of expedite the process as well.
I don't think I knew about that.
Yes, that's amazing. Right. What kinds of scholarships are available for adult students? The best way to determine the scholarships that are available for you is to visit Drury's website. We do have a lot of scholarships listed. All the criteria for each individual scholarship is listed as well. So you can read through and pretty easily determine if you're eligible for each scholarship. The applications are all right there on the website too. Everything all in one spot makes it nice and easy.
We do have a question about part-time status for scholarships. Most of our scholarships, if not all of them currently right now that we're offering, you just have a minimum of 6 hours that you need to be enrolled in and 3 hours for the summer.
Right. There are some requirements for some of the federal or state aid if students are interested in receiving an Access Missouri state grant. For those of you that are Access Missouri students, you do have to be enrolled full-time to receive that. For Pell Grants, your enrollment determines how much Pell Grant you get. So full-time gets the most Pell Grant. And then if you're in 9 to 11 hours, you get a little bit less. It's a prorated amount as your enrollment goes down. But you can be in as little as 1 credit hour potentially and receive Pell. For loans, you do have to be enrolled in 6 hours. You have to be at least half-time to be eligible for direct student loans, subsidized and unsubsidized loans. And the next question, that's a great segue for that, thank you. When will I get my loan money? So loans and all of your other aid are dispersed to your student account usually about 30 days into the semester. You do have the first 2 weeks of class to add or drop coursework. So there's a lot of enrollment changes that happen the first 2 weeks. Since that has such an impact on your financial aid, then we do wait and make sure we're getting the right aid to you and the maximum amount that we can get to you. Once that loan and all of your other aid is applied to your student account, if there is excess funds, then those are refunded to you, usually about a week after that.
We have a question about online classes for course material. It depends on the class you're taking. Some have textbooks. Most of them have digital files that you can upload. It also kind of depends on the instructor or the professor that's leading your course. And all of that information will be available to you ahead of time. Now, if you signed up late to the class and just before the add drop period, you may miss some of that information up front, but the best scenario for you is to sign up, when registration opens, be in touch with the faculty member or again, your advisor or anybody that you've been in contact with prior to that point.
So we have a question about parents on the FAFSA. So for those of you that are dependent students and would be required to include your parents' tax information on your FAFSA, the question is, my parents refuse to provide their tax information on the FAFSA. Can I still get aid? And the answer is yes. We do have to get some additional documentation from you. So your parents may have to sign a document saying that they refuse to provide their information. We can walk you through that situation though. Make sure we get all the documentation that we need so you can get your aid.
We're going to jump right back to online real quickly. Is there interaction with other online students? So our platform that we use is called Moodle. And so that is a very kind of chat-friendly, interactive. Some instructors have you upload videos. You may chat or do posts with others. I know right now what's really common is, working on other social media platforms. So you may have to download an app. Everything that you'll be asked to do, of course, would be free within that course. I don't really know how to expand on that anymore, other than there is other interaction. You're also welcome, if you're in a collective area, to team up together to work on projects in that way as well.
And we have a number of classes that are blended too, that are part online and part seated. So that's a great way to get some interaction with other students, but still reap some of the benefits of being in an online course. Okay.
I'm going to jump down to applying for classes. Our application is on our website. It is drury.edu/application. It's really that simple. You'll get started right away. I will let you know, though, if you've been a student with us in the past and you're a returning student, or you took dual credit with us, you already have an account in our system. And if so much time has elapsed, you don't remember your password or anything like that, no big deal. Contact your recruiter or your counselor and they can get that reset for you.
Next question, do student loans cover books, gas to and from class, or other living expenses? So that's kind of a big question to answer because it depends very much on each student's different expenses, how many courses you're enrolled in, what your loan eligibility is, but we do tailor your financial aid package to your situation. When we're creating those financial aid packages, we do get to take into consideration your expenses for travel to and from campus and other personal expenses that you may have, as well as books and tuition and all those charges that come from the university. So we do try to maximize your aid package by including some of those other components like travel expenses and personal expenses.
And the other thing I might add that I wasn't aware of for a lot of my time, at least at Drury, was you are allotted a certain amount up to your student loan, but that doesn't mean you have to take out that full amount. So you can go $500, $1,000. You do not have to take out the full amount if you think that you want to create a little bit of buffer for gas or other expenses that you have, childcare, rent, whatever you feel like you need that extra loan money for, you can go up to that amount. So don't feel like you have to take out the full amount that is allotted to you.
Absolutely, and you can make that change right in your My Drury account when you log in to review and accept your decline your awards. For example, an independent student who is in their 3rd or 4th year at Drury or at any other college could receive up to $12,500 in loans. And that's probably far more than a student would need just to cover tuition and expenses. That would allow students kind of a buffer for things like books or gas money, things that are associated with being enrolled in college, but maybe not a direct charge that we are going to give you from Drury. So you do have would potentially have plenty of eligibility if you were a junior or a senior student. But like Kelly said, you don't have to take all of that out. When you see that number in your My Drury account, you can change that number and you can put anything up to what's already listed in there. So if it says 5,000 or 10,000 and you only want 1,000, please change it to 1,000. We don't want you to have to pay back any loans that you don't have to.
We have a series of questions about kind of the application process, so I'll go into that again for just a few minutes. It is free to apply, and then another question is how long does it typically take to get accepted? So some of that relies on the student, but I will let you know in efforts to expedite that process, the admissions team is able to request transcripts on your behalf, of course, with your approval, and that is all done through the application. It's actually on one of the last pages of our application. If you'd like us to request your transcripts for you, we can do that for a convenience fee. Our flat rate fee is $20, so it doesn't matter how many schools you've been to, we will request all of those for you for $20. Of course, you would have to disclose all of those up front, so we would need to know from your application exactly what schools to get those from. I would also like to point out that for our evening and online education, as well as our traditional day school students, if you have a completed conferred Associate of Arts degree, you do not need to submit your high school transcript. Now, you might ask, I'm working on my AA. I will graduate, let's say, in December. If you apply now and you want to be accepted now, in that case, we would need your high school transcript. So it is at the time of application, but we do try to do all of this and do the legwork for you to expedite that process. If you start the application and you get stumped, don't hesitate to let us know. We'll also be reaching out to you to help get you through that process a little bit quicker. Otherwise, if you don't want us to request your transcripts for you, the length of time is dependent on how soon you can get us your official transcripts.
Another question, how long does the FAFSA process take? That's a great question. If you file electronically, file at fafsa.gov, which I would highly recommend. It's much faster than if you file a FAFSA like my friend Kelly and I did. When you get the paper out, you fill it all out, and you do the bubbles, and you mail it in. Yeah, you mail it in. It takes a little bit longer. File electronically if you can, because it's much faster. When you file electronically, it's generally processed in 3 to 5 days. I've seen it as fast as 1 or 2 days, depending on the time of the year. So definitely file electronically if you have that option, because it is so much faster. Once your FAFSA is filed, like I said, FAFSA will take 3 to 5 days to process it, and then they send it to us. So usually 4, 5, 6 days, Drury will have it pretty quickly, and then we can create your financial aid package from there.
Circle back to application for a quick minute. Once you have been accepted into Drury, your recruiter or counselor will connect you with the advisor for the campus that you are closest to. And then they will walk through evaluating your transfer credit and getting you assigned into the classes based on your desired major. We know all of that information from your application ahead of time. I would also like to mention that you can be registered for classes if you are not yet admitted. However, at that point, you are not eligible to take out any aid. You have to be fully admitted or accepted into the university to receive any financial aid, including our scholarships. But you can go ahead and be registered in classes. You will just kind of pay as you go. We will allow you to do that up to a certain point. Our application will only stay live for 1 calendar year. So kind of segueing into how soon do you need to apply for upcoming semesters, you can do that as soon as a year out. Most students, though, probably do it 3-4 months ahead of time. We recommend that, especially for the scholarships that we kind of mentioned earlier. We'd prefer you go ahead and apply for those scholarships so we can get it added to your financial aid package as soon as possible, because again, it does kind of play a role for how many credit hours you are enrolled in.
Absolutely. So we have another question here that says, I'm nervous about going back to school because I haven't been in classes since I graduated high school 8 years ago. Who do I talk to about classes to take? I'm thinking about getting a business degree.
Fantastic. Well, I need to tell you something. We have a lot that haven't been in 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. We are really here to serve the adult population. And also, kind of caveat to that, your high school transcript is still out there somewhere, I promise. And if you need help finding it, I can track it down for you. That's kind of my specialty. I'm a good stalker. So 8 years ago, no big deal. I understand completely, being nervous or anxious about starting classes. You don't have to jump into a full load. We do have introductory college classes that can kind of help you get your feet wet, get you in the groove, understand Drury, understand our layout. And you also don't even have to declare a major right away. We'd be happy to help you with the business degree. We also have a general studies program, so you can kind of sample a little bit of everything before you really decide on what you want to dive into. Our advising team is wonderful as well. We also have career planning and development. They can help you kind of narrow in on skills that you inherently have and try to match them with a degree that best suits you as well.
All right. So we have another question here that says, are all scholarships GPA related? And the answer is no, not necessarily. We have lots of scholarships for many different things, not just GPA.
Yes, and again, kind of the best look is to get on the website and look at all the criteria there. It will show you deadlines, if there's a GPA requirement and how soon you need to reapply for that. We have some especially for transfer students, returning students, new students, so make sure you look at the site for that. You can access that by going to our Drury website. We have 3 little lines up the top, or you can just use our search bar function to search for all of our scholarships.
All right. Do online courses have specific times that you're required to be logged in?
That will vary by the instructor that you have for the class. It will also depend on what length of time you're in class. So if you're doing just one of our block terms, which is 8 weeks at a time, or if you're doing the full semester, which is the 16 weeks, some of those are, more intense than others. So if you're in a 16-week, you have more time to complete all the coursework. If you're doing an 8-week, either an A block or a B block, your time to log in will be much more frequent than that of the full semester.
Absolutely. I heard I can take classes over the winter term. Can I still get aid for those classes? So absolutely. So your winter term classes are kind of rolled in with your spring classes, which is great for a lot of our CCPS students. For example, with the Access Missouri that I mentioned earlier, you do have to be enrolled in 12 hours to receive the Access Missouri state grant. But if you're enrolled in 3 in winter and 9 in spring, that makes you a full-time student. So that does roll in with that spring financial aid.
And also just to point out for that, any of these, and especially if you're just kind of now tuning in, any of our scholarships, you do have to be fully accepted into Drury University. And if you have any questions on kind of your status, don't hesitate to reach out to any of your contacts at Drury. We have a question, is it possible to take more than one class, or is it possible to major in more than one subject or program? And the answer is yes. If it's 2 classes, absolutely. We welcome as many classes or course load as you think that you can handle. And of course you can double major and you can work on a minor or certificate with Drury as well.
Another question about aid. Can we get aid for summer classes, or is it better to just do the longer courses? You can absolutely get aid for the summer semester, and depending on the block type that you're taking, whether you're taking full term classes or you're taking those 8-week A block or B block courses, those courses may actually be shorter than the summer term. So it varies by semester. We have lots of different course offerings during every semester, including summer, that will hopefully fit anybody's schedule, and you can tailor those courses to fit kind of what you need. But yes, there is absolutely aid available for students in the summer.
Another question about admission. As far as high school transcript, we will accept your high school transcript. We'll take a homeschool transcript as well as the GED.
I think we're caught up on questions. If you guys have any more questions, send them on in.
Type away.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you joining us tonight. And if you think of anything, again, my name is Kelly Roberts. I am the Director of Admissions, so you're welcome to shoot me an email. But if not, we also have a live chat feed also up on our website. So if you think of any questions later, or you want to pass that on to any friends or family, you're welcome to use that resource at any time. Literally available to you 24 hours. And then if it's a more in-depth question, I will get that and I will make sure I follow up with you at a later date. Oh, we have one more question.
All right, the question is, how much money can I get? And that is, again, a big question that depends very much on how many courses you're enrolled in, what your charges are, and what your specific eligibility is. But step number 1, apply and be admitted to the program. Step number 2, file the FAFSA. Those are going to be the 2 most important things you can do to determine how much money you specifically can get. That's going to vary from student to student based on their individual circumstances.
We have another question. How much time should I spend on one class every week? That is really going to be dependent on the student and your learning style. If you are kind of coming back into higher education or you're just getting started, I might recommend only signing up for 6 hours at a time, especially if you're already kind of fearful on the time commitment. Just do 1 class or 2 classes and kind of let yourself ease back in. And of course, since we do have the block starts, if you want to sign up for 6, full semester classes, and then you want to, or 6 hours for the full semester, and then you want to do a second B block. If you feel like for that first 8 weeks you're really doing well and you can throw in another one, we'd welcome you to do that.
Another question, I'm almost done with school and considering going back, but I'm worried about the cost. And the best thing you can do is kind of what Kelly and I have recommended for those of you that are just tuning in. fill out your application for admission and fill out your FAFSA. Both of those things are no cost. The only thing it will cost you is just a little bit of time. And we can't really accurately answer those questions about cost until we have those two pieces in place. We want to be able to answer those for you. We want to make this a collaborative process. So feel free to reach out. We can help you walk you through the documents that you do need to submit and help you down that path. We're not just going to kind of throw you out there and say, oh, you need to go do X, Y, and Z, and then come back and see us. It's a very, very collaborative process, and we do want to walk you through it as best we can.
And we also want to meet you on your terms.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to talk over the phone, great. Text, great. Email, if that works best for you, we can do that as well. If you want to come in person, whichever way kind of helps you understand and get through the process, we can do it one step at a time. But we also recognize that many of you are working, have young kids, working part-time, full-time, all hours of the night. So we will meet you on, kind of whatever platform works best for you.
Another question, will I get help from an advisor throughout my time at Drury? And you absolutely will. That's one of the most important things, and I think one of the great values of being a Drury student is that personal mentorship and those connections that you make with your advisors and your faculty members. That makes such a difference for students as they're going through their education here at Drury, because you really do get to know your faculty members and your advisors. They know you, they know what you want to do, and they can help you down that path that's right for you. It's not kind of this big cattle call of, well, if you're a business major, every business major takes exactly the same set of courses every time, regardless of what they want to do. We really try to tailor that education to you, and having an advisor and having faculty members that know you well really helps us to do that.
Definitely, and it's not uncommon for you, if you wanted to work with a couple different advisors, one that is more tailored again to your program. We've had a couple of programmatic questions come in as well. So we do list all of our degrees and programs on our site, and so all the way down to actual course descriptions. So especially for transfer students, if you're trying, you want to get out of school quickly, but then also for students that are just entering into Drury, you can look at a list of all of those programs on our site. You can click on them. It'll show you the course layout, the course descriptions, and if you're, kind of not sure, you're looking between, any of our programs or wanting to pair them up together, you can kind of toggle back and forth and think, okay, this is perfect for my profession, but I'm really interested in this too, and we can kind of pair your passion and your profession at the same time.
Mm-hmm. We had a question about the Law Enforcement Academy as well. The Law Enforcement Academy does have aid that's available to students in the Law Enforcement Academy. Very similar process. You have to apply and be admitted, and you have to file the FAFSA. And once we have those two pieces in place, we can talk more specifics about your specific aid eligibility. The question also asks, can we take other classes if you're in the academy? I don't think there's specifically a prohibition against that, but I will tell you the Law Enforcement Academy is very time intense, and you may not have time to do that. It's a big, big time commitment to be in the Law Enforcement Academy, but it's a great program.
And I would say after you graduate from the academy, yes, we would gladly take you for an associate's degree or a bachelor's, all the way up to master's, because we do have grad programs as well, everybody.
All right.
We have a question about our SOMOS program. We do have a grant available to some of our students. I would encourage you, the student that asked this question, if you could send me a personal email, I'd be happy to get you in contact with that advisor. My email for everybody out there in Facebook world is K as in Kelly Roberts 001@drury.edu. You can also find all of my information, contact information on our Drury website.
All right. Do I need any special technology or software beyond a basic computer to take online classes? I don't think that you need anything beyond your basic home computer with internet access.
Internet access.
Yes, internet access. That's very important to take online classes. We do use the Moodle platform, and there may be in certain courses other bits and pieces of things that you pick up along the way, but that's the basic.
We do have a very basic class also that kind of is an introductory to our Moodle and kind of navigating Drury in an online platform world. Most all of our students have to take that class. So look forward or don't look forward to it, but it is one that will definitely help you get the hang of Moodle and kind of interacting with classmates and your instructor in the online space.
If I start classes in person but my situation changes, can I switch over and start taking classes online?
The answer is absolutely. Some of our programs you need to complete in person, especially if you are taking a class that has a lab associated with that. If you think that it's just a short-term thing, you are also welcome to transfer in classes. If you're going, someplace on location where you need to complete something in person, you can transfer that back to Drury and go ahead and continue your program. If it's a more long-term stretch for you, I would encourage you to get on our website and look at our programs that are offered completely 100% online.
We have another question. What is Moodle? That's a great question.
Moodle is our online platform. That's the name of it. That's where you log in to see your instructor, the database, your grades. Everything is posted there and communicated back and forth. That's also where you turn in your assignments. We have a question. When is the deadline to enroll for classes in the spring? For all of our block starts, the deadline is 2 weeks after actually registration and classes have begun for that term. We don't recommend you waiting until 2 weeks into that class and that registration period because you will have missed out on some of the content up to that point. If you have not been accepted yet for the spring classes, I would recommend you go ahead and apply now and we'll get you connected with your advisor.
All right. Kelly, this is a great question. Is an evening and online degree any different than a Drury degree earned on campus?
It is not. So our evening and online education program is one of our 3 branches that we have here at Drury. We also have a traditional undergraduate campus here in Springfield. This is kind of our hub. Like I said earlier, we have 7 different campuses. Those classes are associated with our evening and online college. We also have our Department of Dual Credit for servicing the students that are still in high school. And then we have our graduate studies that has programs that any student would be eligible for as well. A full list of those is on our website, but you're welcome to connect with any of us to kind of learn more about kind of the 3 branches of Drury.
All right. Just a few minutes left. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Send those in.
We have a question about business and business entrepreneurship. We do have a business entrepreneurship program that you can enroll in. A lot of that specialty, you're welcome to look at all the course descriptions for that and see if that's what you're interested in. We have the Bachelor of Business Administration that you can explore as well. And any of these programs you're welcome to pair up together kind of depending on the path that you want to take.
All right. Okay, so we have a question come in from somebody who's just joined us, which is great. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm an adult interested in one of your online programs, but is there any way to know if I qualify for aid before applying? My attending is contingent upon being able to receive some sort of aid. We can kind of answer that question for you if you haven't applied yet. If you send your FAFSA in, we can take a look at that and give you kind of a generic look at what your financial aid might be. But until you're admitted and we know what classes you're enrolled in, how many classes you're going to be enrolled in, we can't give you a very hard and fast answer on that. So it's kind of a cart before the horse sort of thing that you do have to apply, be admitted, and submit your FAFSA before we can give you a real final hard answer on what your aid eligibility will be.
And I would like to just emphasize that it is kind of dependent on how many classes you want to take. So
Absolutely.
That would be one of the first questions that we ask you, 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, that will all play a different role in the outcome as well. Be happy to look and see if you would be eligible for any of our Drury scholarships. So that's probably a phone conversation, but I would say applying for the FAFSA is number 1 in that situation.
And that's going to be the same no matter what college you're looking at. There isn't any college out there that's going to be able to tell you exactly the dollar that you'll qualify for until they have all of your FAFSA information and you've been admitted to the university. We know how many classes you're taking.
One more question. Hopefully we can get a couple more in. Will I meet with my advisor before I start? That's kind of up to you. So we would be happy to make an introduction for you depending on which campus location you're at as well. You will absolutely hear from members of the recruitment team as soon as you apply. And then we would then turn around and get you connected with the advisor, again, based on the campus that you would like to attend. You can meet in person, you can meet over the phone, you can meet via email, really whatever works best for you. We always accept, any student that we may call a walk-in student. If you just want to walk into any of our campuses and meet with somebody, we would be happy to see you. Some of our advisors may already be meeting with a student, so if you can give us, some heads up, that's even better to make sure that we have time completely devoted to you. But if you just want to pop in on your lunch hour, we would love to meet with you in that case as well.
Okay. Another question about FAFSA and financial aid, wanting to know if the aid comes in all at once. Generally, all of your aid for the fall semester is dispersed about 30 days into the fall semester, unless you're a B block only student, which in that case it would be dispersed right after you start your courses in B block. We do bill by semester, so all of your fall courses are billed in the fall. You're billed for your spring courses in the spring. We don't bill for the whole year at once. So your fall aid comes in the fall, and then your spring aid comes in the spring semester.
We do have a student question for a student that is specific to taking one of our classes right now and working on the BBA. I would just welcome you to reach out to your advisor and kind of talk more about your career plan and the path that you're on. Mm-hmm. What majors are you best known for? I always love this one. We talk about this a lot on campus. We're constantly looking at kind of trends, what employment rates are doing, what seems to be most popular, but moreover, where the job market is going, not only just for Missouri, but kind of nationwide. Right now, some of our most popular programs are in criminal justice. Psychology has always been a really large selling point for Drury. We have a wonderful program. Our department chair is very engaged and constantly looking at catering the program for what's going on in today's world. Business administration is a big one, as well as biology.
Great. Is there an orientation for evening courses?
So orientation is kind of catered for which campus you're attending. You are not required to come to Springfield for all orientation. Each campus kind of does their own thing. Meet and greets and special events, they get to decide kind of on their own with the site director. We do have kind of orientation welcome videos to Drury as a whole. So if you want to learn more about our culture or see what we're about, all of those are, in my opinion, award-winning videos that our team puts together and really helps get you engaged with the Drury community. It also illustrates, what we look like, how beautiful our campus is, and then, like I said, I've kind of mentioned a couple different times, we have 7 different locations, and so each of us kind of cater our own orientation for the groups of students that we have.
All right. We have another question about payment plans. Do we offer a payment plan? And yes, we do. We offer a number of different payment plans, lots of different options, and those can take into account your financial aid before you have to make those payments. So you're not making payments and then getting reimbursed by your financial aid.
And at any of our campuses, I know I keep saying that, but I really want to press home that we do have multiple campus locations, including a fully online department as well. You can make payments if you prefer to actually get that receipt in hand. You can walk into any of our campus locations and we can take your payment there on site as well.
Oh, this is a good question. What is your favorite part of Drury?
I would say the staff and faculty, and I know that sounds really cliche, but I had a moment, it's probably been 6 months ago, but I was walking from my car into the building where I work here on Springfield's campus, and I came in contact with 3 different people, 3 different departments. We all waved, said good morning, but we all called each other by our first name. And so I thought that that was really special completely. I think one was grounds crew, one was within our philosophy department, and one was actually, I think, someone from financial aid. And so it's just nice to really have that close-knit feel. I would also say I've been spending a lot of time at our St. Robert campus. And so getting to know the instructors there has been really heartwarming for me, just to kind of get out of my bubble here in Springfield, and experience, you know, just the amazing instructors that we have all over the state, who spend, you know, their time often working, you know, a job during the day and then come and, you know, inspire adult students and younger students in the evenings.
I think my favorite part of Drury is that there's constantly a challenge somewhere, that your faculty members, other staff members, other students in your class are challenging you to grow and to learn and to do better and to be better and to think in new ways and to learn lots of new things that maybe you weren't expecting to learn about. So I think everywhere you turn on this campus, there's a challenge that's ready to be tackled. And this is the right kind of place for students who are looking for a challenge, and they're looking to challenge themselves to grow in their profession and their education and to really go to that next level with whatever they might be wanting to do in their life.
Thank you
All
for
right.
joining us.
Thank you very much.